Good morning, everybody. What's cooking, baby? It's your main man, Jason Medley here. Listen, the CEO and founder of the Collective Genius Real Estate Investing Mastermind. What a huge day today. Going to give you a breakdown of that, but I know that a burning question in a lot of people's minds, and if it's not, it should be, is, we got some good news as far as the virus goes, right? Like, it sounds like we're going to be working to opening the economy. We're starting to flatten the curve, even though it's going to come in phases. But the reality of it is like, if you're a real estate investor, one of the biggest questions that you got to be asking yourself, because it's hyper relevant, is will the secondary capital markets return to the real estate investing business, right? Because so much of the contraction that's taking place, see, it all rolls downhill. Right? When those secondary markets exit and people can't buy rentals, or rehabbers got to bring an extra 5 or 10 or 15% to the equation from the perspective of being able to close on rehabs, it all trickles down. Okay, and that all trickles down because when that market evaporates, they can't buy rentals, or they don't have the liquidity to close on those rehabs. Or, hey, Sean, how are you doing? They don't have the liquidity, and then it all trickles down to the wholesaler, right? Because it starts to compress margins. They can't move their deals. It's just so a lot of this is about liquidity, and so we have an exciting day today at the Collective Genius. We're going to be. I've got a meeting today with 4 huge CEOs from Lima One, Anchor Capital, Sherman Bridge Lending, DLP. These are organizations that lend hundreds and hundreds of, actually I should say billions of dollars just between those 4 organizations. And we are huddling up today in an all hands on deck call to really figure out what's going to happen next, right? Like, based upon this news that's been breaking over the last couple of days about the economy getting started, are they going to turn the spigots back on? What will it look like if they do, right? What's it going to look like if they turn the spigot back on? Does that mean that the liquidity will be there, but underwriting adjustments will be changed? It's still going to be harder, even though the money is there. So we're going to be tackling that today, and really excited about that. But before we do that, right, I've got a open to the public webinar with John Burns. This gentleman is one of the leading data providers and housing economists to some of the biggest builders in the country, whether that's WCI, Toll Brothers, etc. Also a big consultant for Home Depot. And we're going to be tackling this question with John because he's hyper connected in the capital markets as well, because he's also very sought after in the single-family rental space from a bunch of REITs and hedge funds and so forth. So if you want to check that out, this call is going to rock, man. We're not just going to be talking about that, but we're going to be talking about behind the scenes what we've been doing at the Collective Genius from a dispositions perspective, right? What's up, Rocco? So we're going to be talking about what we're doing from a dispositions perspective, because with this liquidity drying up, that's what's making dispositions extremely hard. Getting deals, but getting them out the back door, right? So we're going to be tackling that at the end of that call with John Burns, but you're going to want to check that out. It's today at 12 noon Eastern. You can register at www.2020housingpredictions.com. That's 2020housingpredictions.com. I've got myself, I've got my leadership team that's going to be on this call, Mr. Frank Cava, Leon Barnes, and we're going to be rocking it out with John Burns from Burns Consulting. So going to be an epic call today. And then at 2 o'clock, we've got our all hands on deck call with the Collective Genius members, right? So what is CG? CG is a real estate investing mastermind. We are the original gangsters in our space. We've been at it for 10 years. And we have the highest caliber of investors and the highest caliber of culture that is out there. So what does that mean, right? We have about 140 investors that flip north of 20,000 properties a year, and we have a culture based on core values that are guiding us through this challenging time right now around our community. Number 1, right? Integrity. Number 2, and number 3 is go giving. And so that's what we do. We huddle up every Friday, and we are tackling the biggest issues, which right now are dispositions. And so if we can do anything to help you right now, if you're a high caliber real estate investor, we're highly selective. You've got to be doing at least 50 deals a year, or have at least 50 units in your rental portfolio. But we are so confident in what we're doing every Friday inside of our mastermind as far as the brainstorming that takes place. And listen, it's not just about brainstorming. Anybody can tell you that you need to have dispositions, all hands on deck dispositions, right? It's not about the idea. It's not about the concept of what you need to be focusing on. It's the work that it takes in order to focus on those things. And you may say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, at the end of the day, you got to think through, if you're going to be all hands on deck on disposition, well, where do you get the data, right? The data analytics that tell you who the top paying buyers are in the marketplace relative to market value of homes, right? You don't want to sell to somebody that's going to pay 70 cents on the dollar. You want to sell to somebody that's going to pay 95 cents on the dollar. So where do you get that data? Once you get it, what do you do with it? How do you attack it? Right? So and then, if you're hiring for dispositions right now, what are you going to do from the perspective of making sure that you have the right PI index for that individual, and what's their COG score, and what's their job description, and what's their compensation structure, right? So those are all the things that we're tackling inside of CG, and the other members, all of our members are doing it for each other, right? So they share their resources, and we are not sitting back and waiting for this thing to unfold. We are on the attack. So if I can help you be on the attack, my friends, we are here to do that. If you'd like to learn more about us, go check us out. You can go to learnmoreaboutcg.com. That's learnmoreaboutcg.com. With that said, I want to remind everybody, right? I know this seems like it's been forever since we've been dealing with this, but it's only been about a month. And some of the most important stuff is it's not about business, it's not about deals, it's not about capital, it's not about any of that, right? It's about what's going on in here and what's going on in here. And I just want to remind everybody that you've got to get up. You have got to get up, chin up, chest out, be a warrior, put a fence around your mind, put a fence around your body, right? And be a beast. Be a warrior. When we have our all hands on deck call on CG, the fire that I breathe into my people from a leadership perspective is second to none. Second to none. And I encourage you to do the same. If you're a leader and you're watching this, if you're a husband, if you're a father, if you're a mother, if you're a manager, if you're a CEO, you need to be breathing fire into your people right now, right? You have to dictate and control the narrative. I can't express to you how important that is. We talked about that 2 weeks ago on our CG call. You have to dictate and control the narrative. You get to take the response, right? Oh gosh, Mr. Buyer, I understand. It makes sense that you would want to wait and just sit on your hands, or now is the time, sir. Now is the time. The secondary capital markets have left. There's very little liquidity, and for the private lender who's looking to get in the game, now is your time, right? You get to control the narrative. Which way is it going to be? It's critically important. Your messaging is vital right now. So with that said, gang, there is a major difference between a wartime leader and a peacetime leader. Wartime leaders are on the attack. Which one are you? I can tell you I'm on the attack. So we're probably going to have our best 2 weeks inside of CG since we've started. And that is all because of the stance that I am taking and my leadership team is taking, and the way our members are attacking the marketplace right now. So with that said, I'm going to sign off. Please know that I appreciate you guys. What's up, Mr. Hunt? Please know that I appreciate you guys. Truly grateful to have the opportunity to share some wisdom. The other thing, I want to give you one little parting piece of wisdom, right? And this comes from being almost 50 years old, and having my third black swan. I was talking to a young man this morning, and he's like, this was so unexpected. If you're going to lead a business, you must understand you have to operate and live from a place to expect the unexpected. I am 48 years old. This is my third kind of black swan, if you will, right? You've got the coronavirus, you got 2008 financial crisis, you got 9/11. Every 8 to 10 years, you've got to plan for this to happen. And the way that you plan for this to happen is proper cash management during times of excess, during times of expansion, during times of bull markets. You've got to plan for it. It's gonna happen. 1, 2, 3 times in 20 years, right? It's not rocket science. It's just history. I'm not Nostradamus. I don't have it all figured out. It's just a historical pattern. And that's what smart people do. They learn from their lessons and they study historical patterns. And so I want to encourage you that if you have been in this environment and kind of getting caught with your pants down, that moving forward, and it happened to me when I was 38 years. I'm 48 years old right now. When I was 38 years old, I was what I call BBD. I was broke, busted, and disgusted. And there's nothing wrong with that either. I had probably the most peace in my life that I've ever had, because when everything was taken away from me, my closeness with God and my relationship spiritually was just running over. Right? When things are super good, sometimes we can forget that. But my point is that you've got to lead from a place of expecting the unexpected. And most of us just constantly push into expansion, not understanding that these types of challenging things are going to happen, and they are going to happen repeatedly. And one of the things that is such a blessing for me right now is that I have practiced a simple discipline, right? Here's something I want to share with you. Like, go write this down. Making money is a skill set. Keeping money is a discipline. Making money is a skill set. Keeping money is a discipline. I'm going to say it one more time. Making money is a skill set. Keeping money is a discipline. I can't say that enough. And it requires tremendous discipline when everything is going very, very well, to bypass up opportunity to take retained earnings off the table for the protection of your business and for the protection of your family, right? There's nothing I don't think there's anything you could do that would be worse for me as a provider than to take my ability away to do so. Take my ability away to provide for my family. Like, I can't really think of anything else that would be much worse than that, right? And so you have to almost create a level of insurance when you're running your business that doesn't happen. You got to provide for your employees. You got to provide for your family. And the way that you do that is implementing simple cash management practices when things are good, right? And those practices are in the forms of discipline. I have about 5 different bank accounts. I have a cash flow account for my business. I have a retained earnings account. I have a personal account, a tax account, and a rainy day family fund account. And the thing that is put me into a position right now where I'm not really stressed about what's going on. And don't get me wrong, I don't have it all figured out, right? Like, I totally went into fight or flight mode when all this happened. Very much in a protective state of making sure that my business super sturdy, and that my family was in great shape. So don't misunderstand me. Definitely went into fight or flight. But now that everything is stabilized, we've adapted our model. We've made all the necessary changes inside of our organization. I don't really have any concerns, because when things were good, I had the discipline to take money off the table in the form of liquid cash, right? There's a difference between having money and having liquidity. That's another thing to write down. There's a difference between having money and having liquidity. They are not one and the same. If you've got 40 rehab projects going on with 30 grand in each one, you're like, yeah, man, I'm good. I got 1.2 million bucks. Well, you might have had 1.2 million bucks 6 weeks ago, but do you have it now? Right? The only thing you got now is what's in the bank. So, profit is more than something that shows up on the bottom right-hand corner of your profit and loss statement. It is not profit until you physically extract it from your business to protect your business and to protect your family. I want to say that again. Profit is not something that merely shows up on the bottom right-hand corner of your P&L. It's another thing, right? And another big takeaway too is making money is a skill set. Keeping it is a discipline. I've seen a lot of people with very, very talented, efforts get totally just rocked during times like these, because they were constantly into expansion, constantly taking all their profitability and pushing forward and growing, and not taking any level of cash management to put away money for times like these, right? And so it doesn't matter how hard you work, how great your skill set is, what your education's like, what your work ethic, none of that stuff matters if when the dealer flips over the blackjack, you've got all your chips in, right? For 2.5 years inside of CG, we've been telling our members repeatedly, 2.5 years repeatedly, take chips off the table. Take chips off the table. Scale to get better versus scaling to get bigger, right? Scale to get better versus scaling to get bigger. Prepare, position, and prosper for the coming downturn. Oh, well, I didn't expect it. None of it's ever expected. None of it is ever expected. It didn't expect the coronavirus. It didn't expect the 2008 financial crisis. It didn't expect 2001, 9/11, right? So you must live to. Let's recap this call, right? We have some good little nuggets up in this piece today. Let's recap this call, right? You must drive your business. You must create your life to expect the unexpected. It is not rocket science. It is going to happen. It's fairly predictable. I'm not that smart. I've just learned my lessons. It's history. Coronavirus, 2008, 9/11. There's the lesson. History repeats itself every 8 to 10 years. We're going to get whacked. You got to prepare for the whack. Expect the unexpected. Number 2, right? Making money. Making money is a skill set. Keeping money is a discipline. I can't stress to you enough how important that is to implement that discipline when times are good. So when things like this happen, you can breathe easy knowing that your business is in good shape, knowing that your family is in good shape, and that you don't have to stress about it, right? So those are some great takeaways from today. And so I encourage you guys, if you want some great intel today, again, a recap, I've got a webinar today, 2020housingpredictions.com, 2020housingpredictions.com. I've got John Burns. This gentleman is one of the most sought after housing economists in the country. Huge clients of his are the top builders in the nation, the Toll Brothers of the world, the WCIs, the MIs, all of those. Home Depot, you name it. This guy is the guy when it comes to those guys looking for big data on how to make their next decisions and their next steps as far as how they drive their business. So he is going to be on. Get registered for that thing, man. And at the end of it, right, like check this out. At the end of it, I've got myself and I've got my leadership team, Leon Barnes and Frank Cava, on this call, and we are going to be talking about what we've been attacking behind the scenes as the collective genius. Okay, our mastermind has about 140 members, and they are the top of the heap in the business. And every week we are getting on attacking all of the different segments of the business, whether it's marketing, how you've had to change your process, how you've had to change dispositions, what are you doing to raise private capital since capital has left the marketplace, how are you, we are attacking it. And so we're going to talk about all of that at the end of that call. It's going to be super informative. There's not going to be any pitch. This is all content, and I'm excited about it. So get registered today, 2020housingpredictions.com. This call is going to rock. Which as soon as I get off here, I got to go prepare the slide deck up in the Dungeon of Doom. See that upstairs? That's the Dungeon of Doom right there. That's what my wife calls it, because I'll spend so much time up there working from home with our shelter in place deal set up here. So with that said, guys, I'm going to sign off. I appreciate you checking me out this morning. Hope you got some scoop on this call. And again, my name is Jason Medley. I'm the CEO and founder of the Collective Genius Real Estate Investing Mastermind. We take high caliber real estate investors, not only investors, but high caliber human beings. We put them on the fast track to becoming visionary leaders that scale their business, build wealth, and give back. If that's of interest to you, you should come and check us out, right? Learn more about CG.com. Learn more about CG.com. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a fabulous day. And remember, the third thing I forgot to reiterate when I was breaking out that gold is you have to control the narrative. You have to control the narrative. Pick which side you're on. Know what you stand for. Know what you stand against. And share it. Talk to you soon.